Hello there, channel members, friends, and followers from around the world. This is your host, Q8 Pilot, and I'm very pleased to be here with you this evening. I want to thank you all for being here with me on this Sunday or Monday. It's It's a very special stream today for two reasons. The first reason being is that X-Plane 12 has been officially released. And the second reason is that this stream is a continuation of our special Christmas fundraising stream for my very good friend Roberto and Lilo from the FlyLILLO nonprofit organization, an organization focused at helping the disabled in the flight sim community. And so the link to donate to the nonprofit organization or to FlyLILLO is pinned in the chat window. Your donations are graciously welcomed, accepted, and very much appreciated. You can simply click on the link. And of course, as promised, folks, if we achieve our target, I am going to be giving away the RTX 4090 for the channel members, friends, followers, and subscribers in our stream. So yeah, if we do not reach our target, of course, I graciously thank everyone for their donations, and I will be doing another giveaway. It's not going to be the RTX 4090, but it will be something special as well, just in appreciation for all the donations for for FlyLILLO. I truly believe in their cause. And I am very much, supportive of their cause, and very much supportive of both Roberto and Lilo. Thank you very much, by the way, Roberto and Lilo, for being here. And I know you had a stream that you had to push back a little bit, so I want to thank you very much for being here and for your support being here. And I want to welcome all of you guys: Carl Childers, Bill Barrett, Miranda, Stan. Welcome aboard, guys. Glad to have you all. I'm sorry if I don't greet everyone today. I realize that there's quite a bit of you guys here on chat. So Simon, thank you very much for your gifted membership. Appreciate it, my friend. That's very kind of you. Jeremy, hello, my friend. Welcome aboard. So today, folks, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be very honestly and very openly talk to you about X-Plane 12. The official release, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what we're going to be doing in the stream is we are currently situated at Glasgow Airport in Scotland, part of the Greater United Kingdom, and we're going to be flying to the southwest to Ireland. It's a short, about 45 to 50-minute flight, but it will be sufficient for us to take a look at all aspects of X-Plane 12. We're going to take a look at the weather. We're going to take a look at the flagship aircraft, which is the A330. We're going to be flying in the Virgin Atlantic livery today, of course, a fictitious livery for this route and aircraft. And I'm going to be also showing you some of the things that are not immediately, visible here in the sim, sort of the kind of the back scene, back office stuff. So we're going to be taking a look at that as well today. Duncan, a member for 22 months. Thank you very much, sir, for your continued support. Niels, thank you very much, sir, for your support. And we're going to be using a Volanta today. Version 1.4 has been released. And the overlay that you see on the top of the stream is that of Volanta version 1.4. And we have also Mertoya, member for 15 months. Thank you very much, sir, for your support. Appreciate it very much, guys. Thank you very much for your support. Yeah, Amir, that is correct. That would be a very long flight, of course. So what you're seeing right now on the screen is the early morning hours at Glasgow, Scotland, and this is absolutely default scenery of X-Plane. There is no enhancement, there's no mods, there is nothing. This is X-Plane 12 default. And as you can see, one of the things that has changed in this version is the night lighting. And I must say that the night lighting in X-Plane 12 is simply spectacular. It is done very well in my view. You can see the street lights, you can see the traffic here, you can see the lights far in the distance, which is done very well. You can see also, as this is the early morning hours, you can see the sky colors there. The clouds, we'll get to the clouds in a minute, but this is actually a very, very nice default airport of Glasgow. Another thing that has changed in X-Plane is the graphic assets. And the graphics, while they are not outstanding, I think they are very plausible. And every airport that you go to in X-Plane 12, you will find very reasonable layouts, the layouts almost matching the real world layouts, and you will find that the custom or the graphic assets are actually done to an acceptable standard where they are, I would call it plausible. That's the word that X-Plane uses. And I just simply believe that Laminar has stepped things up significantly, and when compared with other sims, when I compare this to the default airports in other sims, I would say that I give the mark here to Laminar Research. They have done a fantastic job with the graphics. Another thing that you will notice has changed is the seasons and also the 3D vegetation. You can see the trees are actually moving. You can hear the soundscape as well. So again, very nice touch by Laminar Research by bringing the vegetation, and the movement of the trees largely depends on the wind direction and the wind speed. Duncan, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your super chat there. Appreciate it, my friend. David White, thank you very much for your support. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. My PayPal has been closed for some reason as I'm unable to donate to the charity.
My PayPal has been closed for some reason, so I am unable to donate to the charity. I was hoping maybe you can do it for me?
I will absolutely do that for you. And whatever this amount that you've super chatted, Duncan, I will make sure that that goes into the charity. That is very generous of you. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much, guys. All right, so that's the other thing that has changed. Of course, you can notice also the color of the trees, which is now, I'm very pleased to say, that we now have the representation of seasons in X-Plane 12. Another thing that Laminar has done, I think I've showed this in the Release Candid 3 review, but it's worthwhile mentioning again that seasons, we have full seasons now. And by the way, in snowy seasons, you will get snow. You'll get to see actual snow. And the nice thing about it is that it accumulates over time. So right now we don't have any rain here. We do have some rain, and you can see the ground is accumulating water from the precipitation. So that's another thing that has changed. The representation of weather, the representation of meteorological data in the sim has also been significantly improved, and it really does lift up the sim in terms of realism. So far, so good. All right. Let's go ahead and just kind of go back up here and take a look at the skies. Now, during nighttime, I'm not sure that I don't think that the clouds look very good. They are somewhat, they look strange. They are volumetric, by the way, so I'm going to change the time a little bit here just to show you what the clouds look like. So if we look at the clouds here, you can see that the clouds look, you can notice, I'm not sure if you can notice the movement of the clouds. They are volumetric, so they are in 3D. But do they look good? I don't know. They look okay. In some situations, they look really good. And in some situations, they look, terrible. You can see the noise there. That needs work. They are much better closer when you look at them in closer proximity, as you can see here. That looks, pretty good in my view, but it is not consistent. So that is one of the things, by the way, that Laminar has put in their list of things to do. So features that are being worked on, which kind of disappoints me that they decided to go with the official release with the known issues that they've had even at the release candidate 6, which addresses some of the issues. I think 3 issues were addressed in that release, but that to me is a bit of, is a disappointment from that respect. Cirrus clouds look absolutely terrible in X-Plane 12, I must say, and Laminar has really got to work on that because it's an immersion breaker. The overcast conditions, on the other hand, look fantastic. There was an overcast condition earlier today in this very location at Glasgow, and it was looking just fantastic. This is the scene, the same exact scene during daytime. And you can see again the vegetation here done very nice. There is a variety of the trees again to give that immersive look. Now, of course, the buildings, you're going to say the buildings in the UK or in Scotland do not look like this. And I do realize that, but that's okay. In my view, that's okay because this is a flight simulator. It's not a building or a house simulator. It's a flight sim. One of the big things in this version of X-Plane is the 3D water. There's a little bit of water here, so we can use it. I think it's done quite well. One of the nice things in X-Plane is the 3D water. And the 3D water, the waves will actually, will change direction. The wave height is also going to change based on the current weather. So it changes with the weather, and when there's significant thunderstorms, you will see that the wave height is much higher than in normal conditions. Overall, it's a major improvement in terms of what the sim does, what the sim offers. I think it looks pleasing to the eye. Again, it is not photoreal, but I think the fidelity of the flight model and everything else all together makes up for, the photoreal textures, in my view. It doesn't look bad, is the thing. So it's not really an immersion breaker. There are a few things that are immersion breakers. All right. So now I'm going to go to the actual aircraft that we're flying. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, the default A330, which is the flagship for Laminar's X-Plane 12. And I have a few things to say about this flagship aircraft. And this is an aircraft that was shown in the official trailer of X-Plane 12. And it was shown in very nice angles, and it was shown taking off and landing and all that good stuff. So this is the aircraft for X-Plane 12. And while the aircraft from the visual perspective looks amazing, it is really very, very well textured aircraft. I love the details all over this aircraft. You can see the nice engines right here, the use of PBR material, very authentic representation of the A330. The wing, again, you can see the finishing of this 3D model is quite authentic, and I do like it a lot. And if we move to the cockpit, you can again see one of the new things in X-Plane is the rain effect, as you can see here, and they've integrated LibRain into this version of X-Plane. You can see that the raindrops again will follow the wind direction. In my view, the feature is done in a again acceptable manner. It's better than nothing in my view. This is not exactly very realistic in my view. It is very nice. It's nice to see the raindrops and nice to see 3D raindrops, but in my view, it still needs a little bit more work, especially if you recall how the LibRain effect, the rain effect, was on the Flight Factor A320. It looks just sensational. And the same thing on the raindrops with the iCUE G737. Those are probably the better examples of how the rain effect should look like in a sim. So yeah, from that perspective, I think it's much better than nothing. It needs work, but it is acceptable. Now, looking at the interior of this A330, I would say that it is done again to an acceptable standard in terms of the texture work. I think it's pretty good. It's not excellent, by the way. Those colors are pretty off, the panel colors there. But overall, for a default aircraft, I think it looks good. By the way, I don't think this is the strongest aircraft in X-Plane 12. I personally believe that the flagship aircraft should have been the Cessna Citation X, because that aircraft is very unique and it is just so well done. I think they should have used that aircraft as the flagship for X-Plane 12 and not this one. But that said, this aircraft is actually done to a very high standard, and the sounds, all the sounds aboard this aircraft are actually FMOD sounds. What I do absolutely hate about this aircraft is that it's still full of bugs, and we're going to try to fly today, and I'm going to show you those bugs, and we're going to try to work around those bugs in this flight today from Glasgow to Dublin. The other thing I do like, I dislike about this is that it comes with the default X-Plane FMC, and that is, to me, in an Airbus, is an immersion breaker. Of course, you don't have to. I know that they are working on an MCDU, but being the flagship aircraft for X-Plane, I truly believe that it should have been shipped with the MCDU with official release. I think this probably should have been priority like number 2 or number 1. In fact, I'll leave it at number 2 because now I'm going to tell you which one is priority number 1 for me. So with the sim shipping at, of course, we're going to see something here. So I am getting about 40 FPS, 41 FPS right now. And this is not an acceptable performance level considering the system that I have, the system specs that I have. And performance tuning is one of the things that Laminar is working on. And I was a bit, put off by the fact that they've officially released X-Plane with the performance still in the backlog of things to do. And that is something that doesn't really sit well with me. And I'm just being very blunt, very honest in my review here today. That is something that I feel should have been addressed probably starting beta 5. We had a hiccup at beta 8 or beta 7 when there was an issue with the NVIDIA API. That was fixed, of course, and I do appreciate the commitment from Laminar's team to fix that. But 40 FPS with an RTX 4090 and the i9 139K at 5.5 gigahertz, 40 FPS, and I will tell you that the FPS is I get about 55. But I have a Streamlabs OBS running, so it does take quite a bit of CPU power, and that's why we see the CPU here, or the frame rate, dropping to the 40s range. So, to me, guys, this release, or the official release of X-Plane, was, in my opinion, a little bit rushed. I do understand that they want to stabilize the system. They want to allow the developers to start also stabilizing their add-ons for the sim, and that is very well understood. But for me to be in early access for as long as we did, and have 14 iterations of beta and then 6 iterations of RCs or release candidates, and still have those issues, to me is not acceptable. Simply said, it is not acceptable in my view. So this is probably the ugly part of X-Plane 12. And I'm going to be very open about it. I did not like it one bit that, it is now official. And so if you actually make an investment in this sim today and pay the $59 and to own the sim, you're going to buy the officially released X-Plane 12 with the notion that it has issues, performance hasn't been tuned yet, their flagship aircraft still doesn't come with the MCDU, and there's a lot of issues that are still working out. You can go to xplane.com/1200 to take a look at the developer blog and see what are the known issues and what are the features that are working on. So that said, Am I? And by the way, I've heard a lot of streamers saying that they will not be flying X-Plane. I know my dear friend Captain Canada said he's not going anywhere near it. I know others have also said they're not going to be streaming X-Plane. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I will be streaming X-Plane on regular basis. I love it. I absolutely love it. What I'm telling you here is a report, a factual report of what I have seen. It is my responsibility to report to the community the facts. With the facts there, as long as you know what you are getting, if you decide to get X-Plane 12, you are getting it and knowing all the shortcomings. So do I care about those shortcomings? Yeah, I do care. But I love X-Plane so much, and I have so much respect for Laminar Research and for their capability that I am convinced that in due course they will do the right thing and they will fix these issues, and that they will integrate a new MCDU into their flagship aircraft, and that we need to be probably more patient. So I was being very critical here today in the beginning, but that's the other side of it, you know. So I'm giving you the both sides, the very critical Q8 pilot, and I'm also giving you the kind of the tolerant, you know, view as well, which is my personal view. So there's the view that you guys need to be aware of, which I've stated, and there is also what my personal preference is. Yes, by the way, it hasn't crashed once ever since I've started, but yeah, those are my remarks regarding X-Plane 12. Right. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be firing up this aircraft, and I've already set the load and balance. Now, unfortunately, you have to go. I'm going to try to show you as much as possible. You have to go to customize, and you have to go to the weight and balance to enter your fuel. This is, by the way, no change from X-Plane 11. The user interface, with the exception of the splash screen, is the same. But hey, if ain't broken, don't fix it, right? So yeah, I love the user interface, by the way, of X-Plane. I think it is a very friendly user interface. I think it is not as complex as other sims. I love it. I just love how everything is so intuitive. And that's just for your information. This is how you set up the weight and balance for the A330. All right, let's go to resume. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to head over here to the overhead panel. And now I want you guys to take notice of the sounds. All right, so battery 1, battery 2. We're going to, again, very nice F-mod sounds. ABU battery is on. Galley power. We're going to turn on everything white here, which is the norm for Airbus. And we're going to turn on all the packs here, all of that good stuff. We're going to turn on the cruise supply, ground control, flat mode, GS mode, system, terrain, and we can also turn these guys. By the way, if you just wait a little while, those covers will close automatically, which is, again, nice. We're going to go to the ADIRS, set the ADIRS 1, 2, 3, IR 1, 2, 3, and set the nav mode. There we go. So that's done and dusted. All right, let's go to the hydraulics panel. And we're going to turn, again, everything on here. We're going to get rid of all the whites. That's the Airbus philosophy. And we're going to turn on the fuel pumps right here. And there is a lot. Everything is pretty much modeled. I've had some issues with the anti-icing system on this aircraft where, you know, the anti-icing system failed. And I was actually flying in icing conditions. And it told me the message on the display said avoid icing conditions, and unfortunately the aircraft could not handle it, and I crashed. So hopefully that won't happen today. We're going to arm the emergency lights and turn on the non-smoking and fasten seatbelt signs, and everything is set here on the overhead panel. All right, let's turn on. Let's see here, what's going on here. We need the external power. Again, very, very nice sounds. You can hear the nice sounds. And now you can hear the air conditioning system kicking in. We're going to set this to arc. Perfect. Excellent. And I do apologize, guys, for not really looking too much into the chat. But I do want to remind you that the link to make a donation to the FlyLILLO project is pinned in chat command. And as promised, if we reach our target, we're going to be having the 4090 RTX giveaway here on the channel. All right, let's get rid of the frames there. And we're going to set this to HPA on both sides. And again, I like the fact that the first officer and the captain sides are independent on this aircraft. And we're going to bring up Volanta. Where is Volanta? There is Volanta. There we go. Very nice user interface. I like it. We have all the information. We're going to go to the operational flight plan. And this is our flight. We're Virgin Atlantic Flight 1912 today, service to Dublin. And we are going to scroll down here and take a look at our flight plan. Flight plan is quite simple today. We're going to be departing Glasgow runway 23 through the Norbo 1 Hotel, through the Norbo transition, Lima 186 airway exit at Tango Romeo November, and then we're going to take airway P Papa 600 to Blaka, and then Papa 620 to Nimat, and then it's the Nimat 1 Kilo into Dublin, and we're going to be performing an ILS approach runway 16. And throughout this flight, I will show you all the problems that are with this aircraft, and hopefully we can get around them in this flight. All right, so we're going to bring up the this is terrible, but anyway, we're going to go to the flight plan. We're going to put the origin airport, which is Echo Golf Papa Hotel. Echo Golf Papa Hotel. That's the origin airport, and our destination today. No, beg your pardon. EG Echo Golf Papa Foxtrot. All right, so that's the origin airport, and Echo India Delta Whiskey is the destination airport. We'll of course get a chance to also look at Dublin Airport when we arrive there, and you'll be able to see again another default. Today everything is default. Default airports, default aircraft, default weather, scenery, everything is default. So we're going to put that here, about 161 nautical miles, and flight number today is VIR 1912. And that's our flight number today. Excellent. And we're going to go to the departures. We're going to select the departure today, which is runway 23. And we're going to be doing so through the Norbo 1 Hotel, which is this one. Excellent. And then we're going to go to flight plan. We're going to go to the next page. And we are going to Lima 186. Lima 186. And we're going to exit at Tango Romeo November. Excellent. And then Papa 600. Papa 600 is the next. I can hear the thunderstorms, which is done very well, by the way, and explain one of the good things, one of the nice things. Leaf, my friend, welcome aboard. How are you doing? All right, so P600 to Blaka. And then from Blaka, it's Papa 620. Papa 620 to Nimat. Right, Nimat is selected. And then it's going to be the Nimat 1 Kilo. So we're going to go to the departures and arrivals, and we're going to select the Nimat 1 Kilo, and the ILS 16, and I believe it's the, oops, where is, there we go. Where is it? Come on, Volanta. All right. We're going to look here, down here, and it looks like it's going to be the Kirov. So transition. All right, selected and executed. Perfect. Now we can go to, so this is our flight plan. Flight plan is done. We'll worry about the discontinuities in a second. And let's go and take a look at VNAV. The transition altitude is 6,000, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're going to go to the next page. Cruise altitude today for this flight is going to be, let's take a look at 22,000 feet, 220. All right, flight level 220, excellent. And then we're going to go to the next page. Everything here looks good. All right, so we're going to go to the next page now. And there are a lot of restrictions as we go. So you can see here 6,000. There is a restriction at 6,000 and 250 knots. So if I go previous, this is 5,000, 6,000, and then it's going to be 6,000 all the way here to 22,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this one here. That should be the climb to 22. All right, that's fine. So we'll leave it there. There's one restriction there at 6,000. Okay, so that's it. Now, another thing that is a problem or very problematic is that you don't have the V1, V2, and V rotate when you are, when you are using this aircraft or the default FMC. And that's another issue because most of us Airbus, fans, we're accustomed to having this here, and it doesn't exist. So, and by the way, it's for any aircraft, not just the Airbus. But yeah, normally you'd find that here, and I think this is the V rotate. I think it calculates that automatically because I can see it here. So I think the VR is 145, which is listed here. Yeah, let me change this so we can. All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to set this to 22,000. All is good. Let's go ahead and start our APU. Again, I really like the sounds on this aircraft. I think they're done quite well. Let's turn on the nav lights. All right, APU is now starting. And I think they're done quite well, quite honestly. If we go to the weather information, why does it keep going away? All right, weather information. Let's see here. So we have... for this segment, let's see here. Why am I not getting the weather? That's the wind. You can see that the rain is coming on and off as we... All right, there we go. So that's the Glasgow weather, and you can see the weather is actually pretty bad right now. Broken at 1400, 2100, overcast at 2500. Yeah, the weather is not very good in Glasgow at the moment, but that should be fun because then it will allow us to actually get a feel for the aircraft in strong weather or in rainy or stormy weather. So that's cool. All right, so everything is good here. I think the APU is ready. Let's change this to ARC. There we go. We're going to come here and turn on the APU bleed. APU bleed is now turned on. And now we can hear the air conditioning system kicking in. We're going to turn on the beacon light on. And everything else is looking good. We need the QNH. So the QNH is, let's see, 0994. So we're going to set that on both sides. 0994 and 0994 here as well. All right, 0994 is set. All right, so everything is set here, and looks like the weather is kind of deteriorating now as we speak. Everything is now set up, and we are ready to push back out of our position. We're going to turn off the external power, and everything else is good. We're ready to go. So let's put this away for now. And by the way, folks, with this Airbus, you will not get an indication here. You will not hear any clicks or anything. So we do have to, they did simulate the climb and the flex positions on the joystick. We'll take a look at that, but you kind of have to you have to look down to, let's put this on, we'll put this on program. Progress, beg your pardon. Progress, not program. Where did you guys get that from? All right. All right, perfect. So we are ready to, let's call the pushback truck. By the way, if we look here, we are going to taxi this way, and that's runway 23, I believe. Yeah, I believe that's runway 23. And you can now see the formation of the water on the ground. You can hear the nice rain. Also, this is runway 23. Here, as you go down, you'll hear it even louder. See, if I go up, you hear it, but it's kind of, you know, closer to the ground, you'll hear things. And I just love the new soundscape in X-Plane. I think it's done quite well. Very, very well done by Laminar, really. All right. So we are good to go, and let's go ahead now and bring up the pushback, better pushback. So we're going to start the push.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
All right, and we're going to just position the aircraft right here.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Here's a look at the passenger window and a wing view there. Yeah, I think the aircraft is done quite well. And overall, if you look at the ground experience in X-Plane 12, I think it's a major, major improvement over the previous version. So definitely with orthos, with Orbex scenery, with add-on airports, as you've seen in my previous video, previous stream, I've showcased Thai models London Heathrow, which is an excellent, excellent rendition of London Heathrow for X-Plane 12. Again, with that, I think we're going to have a very nice-looking sim.
All doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
And very realistic for that matter. And yeah, I'm very excited for the potential of X-Plane 12. And I definitely do like what I'm seeing today. If you would ask me for a recommendation, if I'm asked a direct question, QA, would you recommend that we get X-Plane 12? My answer would be yes. But with a caveat here is if you don't have a capable machine, you will probably need to tone down your settings. And that is, the visual fidelity is going to be reduced significantly, and that might affect your experience. It depends on what you are looking for, really. But if you're looking for, you know, realism in flight model, that is something that is definitely in X-Plane 12, and you will find it there, and you will enjoy it immensely. All right, let's go ahead and release the parking brake. Here's a look at the cockpit.
And you may start engines.
And we have clearance to start the engines. So we're going to go down here. We're going to put the engine mode selector to start. And we're going to begin with engine number 2. And the nice thing is you have to pull it up and push it forward just like the real Airbus. See that? You pull it up and move it there. The nice sounds as well. Very realistic sounds, I must say, of the Airbus start switches there. Right, here we go. And we are pushing back out of our position. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, a very nice scene, I must say. I like the clouds. As you can see, they look very nice from underneath, you know, so from the ground, the clouds look very nice. They look slightly different when you're up in the sky, but I think overall here, from this particular perspective, I think they look pretty good. Yeah, a very, very immersive experience. Overall, this looks, you know, very nice. I have to say, good job there by Laminar. One of the great things they've done is the revamp of the entire environment. The environment has changed. And now if we look here on the outside, you can see that the engine is running. The heat layer is simulated nicely, just like all versions of X-Plane. It's much better, by the way, in X-Plane 12 than it was in X-Plane 10. I remember in X-Plane 10 it was very funny, but this actually looks pretty good. By the way, another thing I really like in X-Plane 12 is the fact that It simulates the condensation. So when the plane starts moving, you'll see the condensation on the wings. You can see it in the engines as well. Something I still haven't seen in in a Microsoft Flight Simulator, for example. So that is something I really like a lot, and I do appreciate what they've done there with the condensation effect on the wings and the engines. Right, look at that. Very beautiful aircraft, very well modeled, nicely textured. All right.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
All right, let's go ahead and set the parking brake. Parking brake is set, and let's start engine number 1.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
All right. Now, one thing we'll have to worry about in this flight is the auto throttle. The speed it goes all over the place. I will try to work around all the issues today, just to show you guys. One is what kind of errors are there with the aircraft, or what kind of bugs are there, but also to kind of show you how to use it if you ever intend to fly the aircraft. By the way, there is a mod, and I will be doing that next on the channel. There is an X-Works A330-900 Neo mod for X-Plane 12, which replaces the aircraft, the default aircraft with the Neo engines, as well as nice sounds and some other additions to the visuals of the aircraft, which I hope that
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time, and have a safe flight.
All right. So I hope that they continue to develop the mod, and we continue to see changes in that mod. Excellent. So we are ready to go, and we have Deck Reed has just become a subscriber to the channel. Welcome aboard. And Dave, welcome, my friend. Good evening to you. Glad to have you here, and I'm very sorry that I'm not paying too much attention to chat today, but there is a lot that I want to cover, and so I hope that you guys forgive me for that. I'm going to just kind of glance at it every now and then, and try to answer any questions that you might have. All right, we are ready to go, and I'm not sure what happened to our flight plan, but I don't see it. It might be there. Let's go to plan. All right, just making sure that we do have the flight plan there. All right, so we have both engines running, so the engine mode selector goes to normal. We're going to set flaps 1 for departure, and we're going to arm the speed brake, and then we're going to come here and make sure the auto brake is set to. All right, so I always get that. So that's one of the things. Says engine oil temp delay takeoff. That is always there, and I'm not sure why we get that, but if you click here to clear it, and then now we're good. So flaps for takeoff, I believe it wants flaps 2. All right, so let's do that. Yeah, let's cancel that. All right, well, let's go ahead and yeah, it's going to give us all sorts of issues here, but let's release the parking brake and head over to the runway 23 for departure, and I want you to take notice of the sounds, of the engine sounds. Check it out. I mean, those engine sounds are actually pretty nice, I must say. That is a very nice looking A330 there, taxiing down the taxiway. Here's the wing view. Nice wing flex. All right, let's see if we can get rid of the. No, we can't. Maybe it wants flaps 3. I don't know. We'll check that. Flaps are not down. Doesn't look like the flaps have there we go. Now the flaps are moving down. That's another bug, it looks like. And now we can clearly see the rain effect. By the way, let's just turn on the wiper real quick. And as you can see, it actually does wipe the raindrops off the windshield. So that is simulated quite nicely here. So I do like that. I like the fact that they've done it well. So it actually is functional. It's not just there. And why do we have engine bleed failure? That's why. We need to turn these guys off. And we are now good. All right, let's make sure we test this now. And now everything is normal. Perfect. All right, let's give it a little more power here. And just listen to those nice engine sounds. We are looking good. And again, one of the things that also has changed is the ground textures of the taxiways, the aprons, the runways. I don't think that you need anything today in terms of the ground elements. You can also see the airport signage. Now, this is probably not, so it is not country-specific or region-specific. So everything, I think this is probably more, you'll see, everything I think is US-based, even the runway numbers and the textures, the runway textures, everything is US-based. But I think it's done quite well. As you can see here, in X-Plane 10 and X-Plane 11, we used to I used to use Mr. X's ground elements in order to get those really nice signage in the airport environment. Again, you can see here the representation of seasons. I've set this to the correct date, which is December 19th, so that we can see those trees here. You can see the discoloration in the trees during winter time. So that is done quite well. I think at least it represents, you can feel that you're flying during winter or autumn or spring. So I think it's one of the plus points in this version of X-Plane. Right, we are ready to go, and everything is per design intent. Let's go ahead and turn on the runway turn-off lights. Nose light to taxi, landing light is on, and the strobe lights are on as well. And we are ready to go. Now, two things when we depart, when we take off, and I will show you this, that you need to be very careful about, because this aircraft seems to have a mind of its own. Lovely strobe lights there. All right. So what we're going to do, folks, is we are going to put the throttle lever on the flex position. And to do this, let me just give it a little power here. And let's line up properly. I love the sounds. Again, default sounds, but very, very nice. All right, let's get lined up here. All right, you see this, again, a very nice looking scene here. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to turn on the flight directors on both sides. Everything else here is set, and we are good to go. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring the view back a little bit so we can, let me see here. How am I going to do this? All right, I just want to show you guys. All right, that's good. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to give it a little power here. And once the engines are stable, then we're going to go to flex. That's 1. And that's flex. All right. And we're going to rotate at about 145 knots. Very smooth so far. By the way, the FPS is still holding up pretty good. So performance, while bad, it's not that bad. Right, here's V1, rotate. Pod is ready to climb, gears going up. Oh yeah. All right, that's one of the things. The minute you retract the flaps, it tells you that the gear is not down. And I'm not sure why it does that, but yeah, that's what it does. And very annoying. All right, so we can go to flaps. So we are in flaps 1, and we're going to continue just a little more. All right, let's make a turn here. All right, let's go to flaps up. Okay, flaps are retracted. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this back to climb, like so. And we're going to say autopilot. And let's see here. No. All right, here we go. So now you can see that you had to, this is, normally it happens automatically in Airbus, but here you have to kind of manually do this. So set the VNAV and LNAV, if you will. And you can see that the speed is not right. So it's going crazy there on the speed. It will eventually bring it down to 250 knots because that's the speed set in the FMC. So it will bring it down, but again, from performance, look at the rate of climb. Again, that's not right, probably going at 6,000 feet per minute. So the performance is highly inaccurate in this aircraft. But nonetheless, let's just wait. This is our first restriction of 6,000 feet. You can see the speed is now going down. So the aircraft systems struggle to actually get the aircraft to the correct speed. Now you can see that it's getting stable at 250 until we pass 10,000 feet, and then it will start increasing again. All right, let's take a look at the outside real quick. And you can see the beautiful condensation here, and you can see the ugly clouds right there. So some clouds look really nice, and some clouds look absolutely ugly. And yeah, you can see there's like patches there. But overall, here, I think this is, look at that. I mean, some of the clouds look fantastic. It just really depends on the situation, on the actual situation. But this actually looks pretty good. You can see the nice wing condensation here. And that looks actually very nice. There, look at that. Yeah. All right, so we're going to be at 6,000. So 5,000 here, above 5,000, then at 6,000. And then we're climbed to 22,000 feet. If we bring up Volanta here real quick. Where's Volanta? There's Volanta. Why is it doing this? All right, so if we look at Volanta, we're going to go to the map, and let's remove the flight briefing, and that, so that's us right there, right here. Current vertical speed, I guess it's just estimated TD. Yeah, I mean, we'll worry about that later. I'm not sure, by the way, if we get the landing rates, but we'll review the flight once we land. All right, perfect. Right, we continue our climb now, and everything's looking good. The flaps are up. We can disarm the speed brake. Come on. Right. Again, very nice sounds. I do like the sounds. And by the way, I do like the fact that in X-Plane, you are able to access your plugins. You are able to change the view. The camera system in X-Plane, generally speaking, since X-Plane 10 has been just simply excellent. Just absolutely excellent. So yeah, I do like it. I do like the camera system in X-Plane. I think it's one of the best. Speed idle, 6,000 restriction, 250 knots. This is in accordance with whatever we see in the FMC. I'm sure that it will get Laminar will give X-Plane 12 the attention it deserves and needs. Carl, they're really a great bunch of folk, and it's one company that I really have a lot of respect for their capability, for their ethics, and I like Austin Meyer. I think this guy is brilliant. I think he's smart. You know, he's smart both as a as a developer, as a businessman, as a pilot, as a teacher. I like the guy. I really do like the guy a lot. All right. We have with us, ladies and gentlemen, Sand 3R S5. He's been a member with us for 2 months. Thank you very much, sir, for your support, and welcome aboard. Glad to have you with us. Just don't touch this specific aircraft. There is other craft much better than the default X-Plane 12. Yeah, the Cessna Citation, in my view, by the way, we'll take a look at those in just a little while when we land at our destination. But I think one of the strong points actually in X-Plane 12 is the range of aircraft and the different type of aircraft, because each aircraft flies completely different. And the list of default aircraft is actually very, very good in X-Plane 12. Especially, I think, especially interesting is the aircraft, Austin Meyer's aircraft himself, the Lancer, which is I think is a really nice addition, and I thought it was a very creative idea to include it in the sim. He's done some really cool videos of that too. So yeah, is the kind of person who has a very good sense of attention to detail, and when something isn't right, he obsesses on it. Absolutely, Carl. Absolutely. And you know, this is kind of, it resembles me at work to a large extent. You know, I'm very detailed and look for details, and if it just doesn't fit, it's just, you know, I just go crazy until it does. So, yeah. So we are climbing to 22,000 feet. I'm going to increase the range here so you guys can see. This is TD, top of descent. So it's good that we actually get it there on the display. And otherwise, let's take a look here now at the outside. All right. So here are the clouds. Again, you can see this doesn't look very realistic. Doesn't look very realistic there. The clouds far in the distance look very strange. And I'm not sure why that is the case, but they definitely look very strange. Let's do a quick flyby. Now, one of the other ugly things in X-Plane is the aliasing. The jagged edges is one of the ugly things, I believe, in X-Plane. And yeah, it's not very good. It's not very good. They have got to fix that. It's just really, to me, it's an immersion breaker. And it's really, really bad in X-Plane 12, despite the fact that I have a 4K monitor and running at very high settings, and we'll take a look at that in you know, once we land. There are just a few things I want to cover after we land, but yeah, overall I think X-Plane is in a state where, if you ask me if if I believe that it's a finished product, I would say the answer is no. It is not finished. There's still a lot of work that needs to go into it. If you ask me, is it worth the investment? I will tell you that absolutely it is worth the investment based on my experience with Laminar since X-Plane 10 days. And by the way, when I got X-Plane 10, it was actually just released. X-Plane 9 was still available to purchase. And by the way, we never checked our flight plan to see if there are any discos, which I kind of suspecting there was one here. So let's do that. Right, that is now set. And we are now cruising at 22,000 feet. All right. And by the way, we'll begin the descent not too long from now. So if we look at the top of descent is in 62 nautical miles, so we'll be there in just about 10 minutes or so. So yeah, we'll leave this on prog. There we go. Excellent. And I'm not sure if this actually picks up the ILS frequency automatically. So what we're going to do is the following. We're going to go to Volanta one more time. And the nice thing, it also has the integration with Navigraph. And this is our flight path today. And this is us, by the way, right here. So we're almost... You can see that it's a very short route to Dublin, and so let's take a look here. We are going to take a note of the ILS frequency, which is 111.5, and we're going to come here. 111.5 is actually set with the approach course of 159 degrees, which is already set here, so we don't need to do anything there. We are good, and we'll put this back on the legs page. And we can now remove the Navigraph. Well, we can remove Volanta altogether. All right. So we continue. By the way, this should have been gone to standard. Let me do that. There we go. Yeah, a few glitches on my part. All right. So the clouds, I wouldn't say that they're completely ugly, but I can't say that they are also immersive. In some situations they are. Like now they're acceptable. In some situations they look fantastic. And what I've noticed is they look a lot better from the ground than they look from the sky, you know, from above the clouds. I still can see some clouds that look shaved off. The cirrus clouds look absolutely terrible. And just the clouds far in the distance, now you can see how those clouds are shaved off. This is one of the ugly things in X-Plane. And please, 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 Laminar, make this a priority and fix it, because it looks absolutely terrible. So, by the way, so far so good on this Airbus. So, yeah, it's got a lot of, you know, problems that you need to kind of work around. And I've done a test flight, so I kind of know what those are. One of which, by the way, is when you come into land, the Airbus, normally when you retard the throttle, the minute you touch the ground, your auto throttle disconnects. In this aircraft, it will not disconnect. So if you forget to disconnect the auto throttle, you're just going to keep going and probably reach the end of your runway. So yeah, Gustavo, hello my friend, welcome aboard. Cirrus and some stratus clouds only look good on manual weather. Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. But the range of default aircraft, actually, in X-Plane 12 is fantastic. Not just the range, but also that each aircraft has unique sounds, unique flight model, flies different. By the way, if we go here now to the outside and we do Control N, it says element wind delta, right? Now you can see a plus knots, so the element delta plus knots. Those are all the forces acting on the aircraft. You can see here the forces here, the element forces, the lift is simulated. And now you have it with the values in percentage. Here you can see the stream wind data. And here you can see the wind stream data with the knots, with the speeds. Then you have the streamlines. There, you can see it better here. Wake turbulence. Look at that. it shows you, and this is very realistic because normally the area behind the aircraft will create wake turbulence, and this is simulated in X-Plane. Look at this is what I'm talking about when I talk about realism. That's what I'm talking about, and this is really done very, very well. Right, we're approaching top of descent right now, and if we look here, we are 22. We'll begin the descent here. And the approach altitude at Dublin is going to be 3,000 feet. So that's what we're going to be doing. If we look here at top of descent is in 34 nautical miles. So we're going to reset the MCP altitude to 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet is now set, and we'll begin the descent shortly. We're going to set this to 40 nautical miles. We can now see the TD here. And yeah, we're looking good. One thing we do need is we need the wind information. So let's go to our flight briefing, and we're going to take a look here at Dublin. And let's see here, the altimeter is 994, and the current weather is 210, 6 knot wind, 160 verbos, 240, few at 1200, broken 3200. Current temperature is 9. No significant change in the next couple of hours. So yeah, a bit of a we'll see how that fares up as we arrive. Venustus, thank you very much, sir, for your super chat. 5 Australian dollars. Thank you, sir, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you, sir. I do appreciate it. Again, guys, a quick reminder that this stream is also dedicated to the FlyLILLO project. And FlyLILLO and Roberto, thank you very much, by the way, for being here during this stream. And thank you for everything that you've done, everything that you are doing. Please, guys, if you feel like it, and please do donate for the FlyLILLO project. And by the way, if we reach the full, thank you very much, Roberto. If we reach the 1,000 euro that I've set as the target for this campaign, I am giving away the RTX 4090 for the channel members, subscribers, and followers. That is right, guys. The RTX 4090. One person is going to win that card. And so, yeah. If not, I have other arrangements for you guys. I'm still going to do a giveaway just as a means of thanking you all for your donations and, you know, for your support to the channel as well. We're going to be doing that as well in the days to come. All right. We're approaching top of descent, and if we look here, we are about 18 nautical miles from top of descent. Let's take a quick look here at the outside. And you can see here, the scattered clouds don't look very good. They kind of look, especially the ones in the far in the distance. So this one, you know, looks okay. Yeah. Here is the wing view. I think the texturing of this aircraft is done quite well. It could use, by the way, some improvements, and we'll probably take a look at the improvements made in the X mod, or the X A330, X Works, beg your pardon, X Works mod for this A330. Again, it's a community project, free of charge. Just kind of started like the Zebo project, and we'll take a look at that in an upcoming stream here on the channel. Now, what gets really interesting is when we start actually landing, when we start the descent, the speed is just really a nightmare to manage. I'll take a look at that. Leaf, thank you very much for your generous donation. I appreciate it very much, my friend. Thank you. That is very, very kind of you, sir. Thank you. And I do realize that you've made a donation to FlyLILLO, so I want to thank you for that as well. I want to thank all of you guys who've donated to the channel and to the FlyLILLO project. I do appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much, guys. Really very kind. You guys are very, very kind. Thank you. And Boeing Corp just coming in with $10. Hello, QA. Thanks for entertaining streams and buy yourself a cup of coffee. Well, Boeing Corp, thank you so much, sir. You're very kind. Now I know I can buy my Starbucks tomorrow morning. Thank you so much.
Hello Q8, thanks for your entertaining streams and buy yourself a cup of coffee.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I'm definitely going to have a cup of coffee. And I'm going to write on it tomorrow morning when I go to Starbucks. I'm going to tell, when they ask for my name, I'm going to tell them Boeing Corp. I'll try to remember and take a snap of that and maybe post it in the community tab of the channel. I'll try to remember that. All right, we're approaching top of descent. Let's see here. So it's actually pretty short. So hopefully we'll be able to make it without incident. But the speed is definitely a nightmare to manage. All right, so this is top of descent. If we look here, we are at top of descent. So let's go here. Nav, nothing happens. Nothing happened. There we go. And now we've begun the descent. And you can see the speed is set here. And we've begun the descent now towards Dublin. Espresso copy. Yeah, that works. San Pedro Transport Incorporated. Welcome aboard, my friend. By the way, I love espresso. I think it's one of my favorite things to double espresso, that is. And Niels, thank you very much for your 100 DKK donation there, your super chat. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you very much. Looks like a hold is about to come. I think that's the. I don't think that's the hold. It's the hold for. It's not part of the flight plan. That's the hold for a go around. So if you go around, we're going to continue on runway heading. So on a heading of 160, and then we're going to turn and come to this holding pattern here until cleared by ATC. But our flight is going this way and then that way, so we are good there. Right, so now you can see the speed is going down. We can still see the magenta triangle pointing there, and the speed is coming down. Have you heard of a cortado coffee? No, I can't say that I have. The sim has come such a long way in the past 3 months. Can't wait to see where it will be in a year from now. Thank you very much, Sim Aviator. Yes, I do agree with you there that it has come a long way since X-Plane 11. So the changes, the improvements, and the new features in this version of X-Plane is without a doubt a huge improvement over what we've seen in previous versions of X-Plane. And the fidelity of the flight model has been significantly increased in this version of X-Plane. I will be doing some comparisons videos maybe in the days to come. I know that those turn to be very toxic, especially in the comments section, so I'll think about it. But I've actually done a few tests. And I'm not going to report anything right now because this is an X-Plane 12 only review stream, so I'm not going to talk about other sims. But I have actually come to some very interesting conclusions when it comes to the flight model as well as the weather. Captain Josh, has the giveaway started? No, Captain Josh, the giveaway has not started. Osama Muhammad, hello, my friend. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you here with us this evening. And thank you very much, sir, for being a member of the channel. German, hello, my friend. Welcome aboard. They do it in South America, and it's amazing. Really? I probably should try that someday. Any news about the 787 from Flight Factor? It's been a while since their last update. I don't know. What I've seen is updates on the 777. They've been teasing their 777 version 2 for X-Plane 12. So that's what I've been seeing lately. We continue our descent, and everything's looking good. I'm very glad today that the weather isn't that bad on our way to Dublin, because on a test flight I've done, there were some severe thunderstorms, and the engine, the anti-icing system aboard this aircraft actually failed. And after failure, simply the aircraft could not maintain sufficient lift because of the icing on the wings and the engines. And it turns out to be, a disastrous flight, and I ended up crashing just short of the runway. It felt, when I did that flight, it felt like the real, one of those documentaries that you watch where, the anti-icing failed, or the pitot covers were not removed, and then the aircraft anti-icing didn't work, and then, the airplane crashed and things like that. You get that feeling when you fly in X-Plane, and for some reason, when I fly in X-Plane, despite the fact that it does not have orthophotos, and if you look out the window, it probably does not, you cannot find your house, right? But the major landmarks are there, for example, and when you do fly in the world of X-Plane, you really feel something that is very real in terms of how the aircraft actually behaves up in the air. And I don't get that feeling, by the way, with any other sim. X-Plane is very unique in the way it feels. The flight model is just really, really well done. And again, I have real-world pilots. In fact, 2 of them. Both are retired now, of course, but they both attest to the authenticity of the flight model in X-Plane. They absolutely love it, and they love it over everything else that I've had them try, and they've tried just about every flight simulator that is there. In fact, I had them try Aerofly FS2. And it's very interesting when you hear real-world pilots, sitting in a sim, and they tell you about it. They tell you what are they experiencing, because they have, first-hand knowledge and experience of the real world, and how it feels, and how the wind actually, acts on the airfoil. And so, yeah. I think Q8 just gave you... And again, my sincere apologies, guys, for not really paying too much attention to chat today. But yeah, there's quite a bit we want to cover today. All right, so now this is one of the issues that you see here. We see the speed start dropping for some reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and just make sure that the speed doesn't drop too much. So we're just going to keep it at 200 knots. Maybe we'll increase the speed a little bit, maybe to 210 knots. Right? Perfect. So we'll leave it there, and now the aircraft can continue. See, it, the management of speed is terrible on this aircraft. It keeps fluctuating, so that's what I do when it starts dropping. By the way, if I go to manage speed, it will go like to 140 knots. So it thinks it's in approach mode or something like that. Very, very strange what it does. And now it's not descending. Let's see. Yeah, we're definitely not descending now. We are descending, but very slow. We've got 9 there. 18.6 nautical miles. 5, 3. Yeah, I think we might be a little too high. Alright, we've begun the descent, looks like, again. Very strange, the management of VNAV. Let's see here. Alright, so it looks like it's engaged again. Yeah, so this is again another thing. It looks like for some reason the descent in managed mode, it disconnects for no reason, and then you'll have to engage it again. So you have to be very careful as to what's going on with the aircraft. And the speed goes all over the place again. But overall, it's okay. I mean, it's manageable. If you're looking for a realistic experience flying an Airbus A330, of course, this is not the aircraft for you, without a doubt. But I sure do hope that Laminar would work on this aircraft to make it better. And I'm sure, you know, with the X-Works mod, hopefully it will be as good as the Zibo, and they'll bring additional improvements to the aircraft for us to enjoy it. Right, we continue now our descent, and here's a look at the outside as we approach Dublin. And now actually it doesn't look so bad. I mean, the clouds look all right. They're a bit shaved still, you can see here, right there. So yeah, that looks a bit, you know, weird. By the way, one of the things I really like in X-Plane, and since X-Plane 11 version, is the fact that you can, it's the Stratus clouds. They seem to have issues. Yeah, I think Cirrus clouds as well, Carl. I think the clouds in general. I'm very happy that they are now volumetric, but serious problems with how the clouds look. Here, let's take a look here. I mean, this looks all right. It's not too bad. But again, if you see the clouds in the distance there, they don't look very good, without a doubt. Here's a flyby. All right, we're approaching 10,000 feet. All right, here we go. Let's turn on our landing lights. Actually, you never turned them off. All right, so all our lights are on and everything here is good. All right, so we're good here. And let's see here. All right, so now we are going to reduce our speed to 190 knots. And to do this, I'm going to extend the speed brakes a little bit. Not yet. All right, let's just leave it a little while here. All right, we're at 10,000 for 3,000. We have, yeah, I think we can descend. I think we're good. Now, the final approach speed, if we go to manage speed, it will list the, about, I believe it's the same, it's about 145. So we'll assume that the final approach, or VAP, is, again, we don't have it. So you don't have VAP here. So what we're going to do, we're assume it's about 147, 145, which is equal to the V-rotate speed. Yeah, unfortunately, there is nothing we can do about that with this aircraft. So we're just going to wing it in terms of the speed. And we're looking okay. All right, perfect. We're almost there now, folks. We're going to set this to 20. And now we can see this is the runway here. I'm going to turn on the landing system on both sides. Excellent. And climb mode is fine. When you get a cortado in a coffee shop, you always get a glass of mineral water with it. I think it's the same in Saudi Arabia. Oh, is it? Oh, that's cool. That's good to know. Is all default? Yes, sir. All is default. Everything is default in this stream. Clouds, scenery, airports, aircraft, the livery, everything is default. There's no mods, nothing. By the way, there are already mods that will enhance X-Plane, such as the light mod. But I chose not to alter anything in the stream because I wanted you guys to see X-Plane 12 as it is. This is the official X-Plane 12 release with no mods whatsoever. And it is fantastic. It is truly fantastic flight simulator. Now, do I agree with the official that this is, you know, that it's finished? No, it's not finished. It's not finished. Needs time, needs work. But hopefully we'll get there. Does the giveaway start on arrival? That will depend, of course, where we are in terms of the FlyLILLO project. And yeah, 7,000, 7,500. We're almost there now. Let's take a look at the outside real quick. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is a very nice scene as we approach Dublin. Look at that. The clouds here, as you get below the clouds, things start looking much better. It looks like there's an aircraft carrier right there. Yeah, there's an aircraft carrier right there, just you know, sailing along, and you can see the foam behind it. Again, very, very nice. Very nice touch there by Laminar. Cloud smoothing is done okay in my view as well, especially when inside the air, when inside the cockpit, the cloud smoothing is perfect. It needs a little work when you are. All right, I think now we can start reducing our speed. So we're going to go to 180 knots. Speed is reducing. We're below the green dot, so we are going to go to flaps 1. Flaps 1 is set. We are 6,000. We're going to set the... There we go, 996, I believe was. Yeah, 996 on both sides. 996 is done. Excellent. We're going to maintain about 180 knots. Flaps 1. We are looking good. We're going to set this down to 10. Just make sure that we are still descending. Are you running maximum settings? Almost maximum settings. Almost. I'll show you guys my settings as soon as we land. Now, by the way, guys, if you want more information on settings, please check out my Explain 12 settings, graphics settings video. I discuss everything that you need to know about settings, and I also include in that video the recommended presets for low, medium, and high-end machines. What would be my recommendation? Now, this scene actually looks very nice. It looks very convincing in terms of the clouds, as you can see here right ahead of us. And even from the external view, this actually does not look bad. Yeah. You can see the wing condensation. Again, very, very nicely done by Laminar. One of the things I like about the sim is the wing condensation, the engine as well. Look at that, how smooth that is. Just absolutely brilliant. Right, we're almost on the glide slope there. And you can see the localizer needle as well. So we are a bit, we're a bit too high, just a tad too high. But I think we'll be able to correct that shortly. I'm going to start reducing our speed. Oops, not the heading. Not the heading. Not the heading. All right. All right. So let's go to 160. All right. And speed check. We're going to go to flaps 2. And as we begin the turn, we're going to go to approach. And we are going to select gear down. And you can see how the speed just goes up. All right, we're lining up now with the runway. Just look at the beautiful colors. And you can see the movement of the aircraft. All right, let's just make sure we're inside the cockpit to monitor what's going on. We are on the glide slope and on the localizer. We're doing okay. Gear is down, flaps 2, so 2 more notch of flap. And we'll do that once we are closer. This is the runway 16 ahead of us now. And we have to be very careful with the speed. So what needs to happen is right before we land, we need to disconnect the auto throttle in order to make sure that we can actually stop the aircraft. The flapping rudder, though, is not supposed to do that, right? No, it's not. Rudder looks like a dogtail. Trim is, yeah, that's true. On this aircraft, by the way, the other aircraft don't do that. Not all of them. Some of them do. Not all of them. All right, we are at 3,000, and you can see here we are almost there now. And I do like the haze. I do like the representation of weather, generally speaking. The clouds, without a doubt, do need work, but they are also acceptable in most cases. Cabin is ready. We are clear to land. Runway 16 here at Dublin. Right, let's start reducing our speed to 150 knots. 150 knots is set. Speed check, flaps 3. And it looks like flaps full. I can see it here, so it's about 133, 132. So we'll take it. We'll take it, but we just have to remember to turn off the auto throttle as we come into land. So overall, very flyable. It does require a bit of work. It does require a bit of attention because of the lack of depth in the in the system simulation. So let's arm our speed brake and then of course it's waiting for flaps full for a no blue. So what we're going to do now is we're going to reduce our speed to the final approach speed of about 134 knots and speed check, flaps full. All right, cabin ready, flaps full, gears down, spoilers are armed, and we are cleared to land runway 16. The good thing is we have a very powerful replay system in X-Plane 12 that we're going to be using to take a look at that. JAR A330 works for X-Plane 12. Yeah, it does, Carl. It does, and I've tried it out. And quite honestly, it's not worth it. That's just my view. So don't make an investment in the A330 in the JAR design aircraft. It's just, in my view, it's not. The developer is a gem of a person, very nice guy. But I would not recommend the aircraft for sure. All right, we are approaching Dublin, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up and get ready for some very violent landing here. All right, let's see. We are almost there. I still can't see the runway's right there. All right, so visibility is very bad. So let me disconnect the autopilot now. So we can't, I don't think we can actually do that. It did disconnect the autopilot, which is cool. And my aircraft, we're a bit tad too high, so let's correct that. There's definitely some wind there as we come into land, and it's a struggle to keep it there. All right. Definitely some strong winds there. All right, I'm going to disconnect the auto throttle now.
Right slow.
Forty, 30, 20, retard, 10, 5.
And welcome to Dublin, ladies and gentlemen. Our reversers are deployed. I don't think we had the auto brake. 80 knots, manual braking. And all kinds of faults are there now. Well, let's cancel the master caution. Again, not too bad, considering, you know, this default aircraft. It's okay. Thank you, IFR Captain. Thank you very much. And let's just find a spot to park the aircraft. Overall, I think it's okay. It's a flyable aircraft. But in my view, again, being the flagship aircraft of X-Plane, it needs to be a lot better. And yeah, definitely needs a lot more work. All right, we can clean up. Flaps can go up. And let's see here. I think that's a good spot here to park. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dublin. And let's go ahead and take a look at the replay real quick. And then we'll continue. Let's see. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Fly toggle replay mode. All right, so we're going to bring the aircraft back to right there. I think that's good. Right, here we go. And that's a steep descent right there. But that looks very nice indeed. If you don't mind my bad landing, actually looks pretty good. Look at that, guys. I just love to watch, you know, X-Plane. The landings in X-Plane is just really, really good. Yeah. That's X-Plane for you. Just really sensational. Really, really, really cool sim. Right. So speaking of the graphics, guys, this is yeah, it is really cool. All right, so here is Dublin Airport, and if you guys are familiar with Dublin, the layout of the airport actually looks a lot like Dublin Airport. So this terminal here, this part here, this looks very much like Dublin in terms of the layout. Of course, all the runways are in the right position. The buildings do represent Dublin. Yeah, I mean, it does not look like the actual terminal in Dublin, as you can see here. But the graphics overall are, you know, well done. All right. So another thing that I wanted to show you, so to speak, is if we go to the menu here. Now, I'm going to, so you have the A330, which is the default aircraft that ships with the sim. But I want to focus your attention on this area here. You see we have the Beach Baron, which is, of course, from X-Plane. We have had it in X-Plane 11 as well. The Beechcraft King Air, another default aircraft. We skipped this one. The Cessna Citation X, which is excellent. The Cessna Skyhawk, which we've had sort of from the very early days of X-Plane, again, the Skyhawk with the G1000s, the Cirrus SR22, the Cirrus Vision SF50, and this is payware. Lancer Evolution, which is Austin Myers aircraft, the Piper Cub, the Stinson L5, the Van RV10, and that is something I want to actually let's take it to customize here. We're not Glasgow, but we're going to go to EIDW, which is Dublin, and we'll start this on the aircraft. I'm just going to say start new aircraft, all right? And so what you get with X-Plane is actually, I think, first of all, by the way, in terms of a price of the sim, I think it's well worth its price. $59.99, I believe, is the price of X-Plane. And for that, I think you get a lot of excellent default aircraft, including this RV. Look at that. I mean, in terms of the texturing, for example, the 3D model, and this is an aircraft that I did not showcase in the RC3 stream that we've done, but this is actually a very nicely modeled aircraft. Again, nice use of PBR. And yeah, it does look very good. And again, listen to the sounds. Very nice sounds. Very nice. Again, the sounds are different, so listen to that. Right, the alternator and mixture, that. And then you have a start there, engine start. Let's ease off on the throttle here a little bit. Again, very unique sounds. Very unique flight model. I'm going to go ahead and just take off just a little bit to show you guys. Again, you can see we are probably not flying with the wind here, but let's just give it some power. Full left rudder to keep it there on the runway. Very strong wind. And we'll rotate at about 60 knots or so. Right, here we go. Let's rotate. Again, you can see the flight model is very different, and the aircraft was about to stall, and that's because of the wind. And you can see now how the wind is affecting the aircraft and how it's throwing us left, right, and center. And that is one of the things I really like about X-Plane, is the realism that it gives you. The feel of the aircraft is just really outstanding. Very nice indeed. Very, very enjoyable. It is VR ready, yes. It is VR ready, and the VR in X-Plane is actually very good. I love the sounds on those default aircraft. I think it's done very, very well by Laminar. So that's, and again, another thing that I think probably, I would say that it ticks the box in X-Plane is the variety of the default aircraft that ships with the sim out of the box. So maybe you don't want to invest in additional aircraft. I think it still provides you with a very enjoyable experience. All right, so another thing that I'd like to show you guys is the main menu. Now this is a shortened, kind of, you normally get this as a splash screen, but this is probably the only thing that has changed in this version in terms of the user interface, which I think is, again, quite intuitive. I mean, you can resume your last flight, start a new flight, save a flight, load a save flight, or go to flight school. Again, this is something that is available in X-Plane, and I'm not sure if that many people know about it, but there is actually general aviation. So the basics of X-Plane. This is, I think, the first demo that you get, or the first tutorial that you get when you actually start the sim for the very first time. Then you've got navigation tutorials as well, VOR navigation, flying an ILS approach, as well as helicopters. We'll teach you how to fly a helicopter. So again, nice addition here from Laminar. And we're just going to say resume here. And that's the airport. We're just going to make a turn there and land. And so, yeah, I think it's got a nice feature. One of the nice things about X-Plane as well, by the way, the ATC has been changed. And I'm going to show you just something here that I think that will be of interest to many of you guys. So I'm going to, actually, let's go ahead and start a new flight. And let me go to, let's say, by the way, it will actually monitor. So if you go to non-monitored airports, you will not get ATC. So that's interesting. So here's what I want to show you guys. We're going to go with, let's say, the Cessna Skyhawk. And do you guys have any airport that you like me to go to? No, Carla. I just want to show you guys as much as possible in this stream. Let's see, EETN. All right, EETN. What did I do? EETN. All right, that's fine. That's that Tallinn Airport. All right. So we're going to go here and park the aircraft P1. P1 is fine. Yeah, that's close enough. Okay. So what I want to show you guys is in X-Plane, in the ATC, you are actually able to request VFR clearance in X-Plane, which is pretty cool. Again, guys, this is Tallinn Airport, I believe. And again, just quickly, let's take a look at the graphics here of this airport. Again, the layout looks very much like the real airport. Of course, not the buildings, but you can see again how well this is done by Laminar in this version. Yeah, and here's look at the 3D water. Look at how beautiful this is. And as we change the time of day, you can see things. It just looks fantastic. And by the way, if we go to nighttime completely, there is, by the way, an auto exposure thing in this version. You can see here the runway lights. You can see all the streets, the buildings. Looks quite good, I have to say. All right. Okay, so we're back here. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the battery. And let's see here. All right. So if we bring up the ATC, the first thing you can do is a radio check.
Broadsword 99er. Radio check.
Broadsword 99er. Reading you 5.
All right, now the sounds are very robotic, so they're not good. But now you see here, request VFR departure. Okay, so I'm going to click that. And now it says Leonard Mart ground control. So it's asking me what I want to do. Departing to, or for circuits, or let's bring this down here. So for circuits or departing to. So I'm going to say departing to the north, for example.
Broadsword 99er. Cessna 172. 4 local flight returning today. 1 POB. Request taxi for VFR flight departing to the north.
Broadsword 99er. Runway 26. Taxi via Mike, Alpha, and Golf. Hold short of runway 26.
Runway 26. Taxi via
How
Mike,
cool is that,
Alpha,
guys?
And Golf. Hold short of runway 26. Broadsword 99er.
You see how cool is that? So now we can actually, if we go to the outside here, so now we have the progressive taxi here that takes us all the way to the runway there on the far end. We're not going to be doing that, but I just wanted to show you guys that you're actually able to do a request for VFR flight in X-Plane. I think this feature was something that the community had requested, and I think Laminar has done a good job with at least including it. The ATC, in my view, by the way, in X-Plane needs to be scrapped. and they need to bring in some company to develop their ATC. I don't think it works. But the basics are there. So you can actually request VFR, you can request IFR, and in some cases, if you're lucky, and if your flight plan is not very complex, so if you have like VOR to VOR, and then your destination, more than 90% of the time, you'll get vectored in properly to the airport. But in my view, it's, you know, it's not very well done. That's one of the probably bad points. So I wouldn't say it's ugly, but it's bad. It's not very well done, in my view, the ATC and X-Plane. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you guys is if we go here, of course, you can change the time of day, and that will change the seasons. You have the weather. And this is a very powerful weather director for X-Plane. As you can see here, we have download real weather, or you can manually enter the weather. And when we can delete everything if we want. So I can come here, and as you can see, I can delete the wind layer. I can adjust the gust speed here. So for example, here. Or let's go here, because now we can actually see what happens. You see now the speed is 8 knots. I'm going to increase this to about 50 knots. And we're going to say apply. Okay. And let me bring this back here. All right. Now let's play with the weather a little bit. So let me show you here. If we go to customize, now we have the airport temperature, the runway, evolution over time. Actually, we can set this to maximum variation, say rapidly deteriorating. And what else here? Precipitation, let's add moderate. Visibility, we leave that here. We're going to bring this layer a little bit down here, and we're going to say apply. Notice how things have changed now. See how the you can see now that things starting to change. You can see the movement of the trees, and it really does work with you know, I'm going to bring this even down, further down. And now for this one here specifically, we're going to add some, yeah, I think we'll leave that there. And let's see, precipitation, we're going to add to heavy. Airport temperature, we're going to bring this down to 7 Celsius, that's fine. Runway wetness is obviously set at max. All right, so let's notice now here the wave height, okay? I'm going to change the wave height to about 2.5, and we're going to change the wave direction here, and I'm going to say done, apply. Check this out. Look at that, guys. Isn't that really cool? And you can, by the way, play with the presets as your heart desires and see what changes you get. But this actually looks very, very good, even from a distance here. You can now see the rain, and you can see the beautiful 3D water, and creates for some very, just imagine you're coming to land here at this runway. This would look just absolutely gorgeous. All right, I'm going to show you one more thing, and then we'll get to our giveaway business. We're going to go to customize, and now we have multiple presets to choose from. We're going to use the large cell thunderstorm, and we're going to say apply. Okay, and I'm going to change the time of day a little bit. Look at that. Look at that, guys. I mean, this looks pretty good. Got your... That's a pretty cool scene. Gets even better at nighttime. And now you can see how, you know, a thunderstorm, you can hear the thunder, actually. You can see the runway lights here. You can see the reflections of the lights. I mean, this creates for a very convincing night approach in X-Plane 12. You can see that. And the fact that it's not ortho doesn't really matter during nighttime. This looks very, very convincing, I must say. Yeah, that right there looks very good. Right, we can go actually to the top here, and now you can see that it doesn't look very good. Actually, that's a very high altitude, but here, from this altitude, it actually doesn't look very good, I must say. Yeah. Now, changing the time a little bit. So this is what a thunderstorm looks like, and now you can see the film grain really showing here, and it doesn't look very good. Now, as you come closer to the clouds, they actually look a lot better, as you can see here, but there is just far too much film grain far in the distance that makes this not a very, you know, not a very immersive. It's an immersion breaker. I mean, it kills the immersion completely when you get a scene like that. But overall, when you're going through the clouds, right there, so look at that. As we go through the clouds, actually does not look that bad, but does not look that realistic either, in my opinion. And this is what things look like here down. Ooh, look at the runway's completely soaked here. All right. Let me see if there's one more. So this is a large cell, thunderstorm. Let me go here. There is IFR margin, FR marginal overcast. All right, let's select that one and apply. Now this is, folks, marginal overcast. And what I do like about this is that it actually looks very convincing. You can see here the weather. This actually looks very good in my view. And if we go up to there, that doesn't look that bad, to be honest. Again, some situations look really good. Some situations look just completely terrible. All right. So there we go. All right. So one more thing I will tell you I really like and explain. And if we go to, by the way, these are my graphic settings for those of you who are came right in time as CVH visuals. These are my settings. So I have the texture quality set to maximum, the ambient occlusion quality is set to ultra, rendering resolution FSR super sampling is set to ultra. And by the way, the difference between the FSR off and ultra is in what I've noticed that for 4K monitors is that you get stuttering if you set this to off. So I get much smoother experience with the FSR super sampling turned on, and this is true only for 4K monitors. If you have anything below 4K, please use the full resolution. Don't turn the FSR super sampling, because this option is actually intended for high resolution displays. Anisotropic filtering is set to 16, and by the way, I've set this in the NVIDIA control panel globally to 16, so it doesn't really matter if I turn it off here. Cloud quality is maximum, shadow quality is maximum, rendering distance is high, world object density is high, and vegetation density is maximum. Now, you're probably thinking what it would look like if this was at maximum settings. So let me do this for you guys. And we're going to go and, no, we'll change this, the weather. So I'm going to come and say download real weather. And I'm going to say, no. Discard changes. All right, so download real weather is done. And resume flight. All right, so this is real weather now. And what did I do? I just did a dump there. All right, I don't think that it was raining here. All right, so here's what we're, oh, come on. All right, let me just set this up in a place where you guys can see the difference. And I will tell you that the difference isn't much. I'm going to try to go as far as possible to let you guys see. All right, so I think this is a, maybe right here. All right. There. Okay, so I think this is good. I'm going to go ahead and change it. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to bring up the performance scatter. We're getting about 68, 69 FPS, okay? So I'm going to go to the settings, and we're going to add the maximum world object density. We're going to note that this was at about 65 or so, 60 to 65. And we're just going to load this now and put this slider on max. And now this slider is at, oops, Vulkan device loss error explain cannot continue running X-Plane will quit. All right. There you have it. And X-Plane has crashed. Yeah. But it takes a while for it to... All right, so X-Plane has crashed. That's okay. We're just going to start it again. And we'll go to the exactly same location. Yep, I hate when X-Plane 12 does that. That's why I uninstalled it. I mean, it's okay. I've had my fair crashes, fair amount of crashes with X-Plane, with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2. So that's all right. Resume flight. All right, so now we're going to load it with the world object set to maximum. So the same settings I've had previously, but now with setting this to absolutely to the absolute right maximum settings. Downloading real weather, applying real weather, and now it should load the sim. If I recall, it was about 60 to 65 frames before applying that slider to the maximum setting. All right,
Aircraft
so we're back
do not
in.
have any steerable gears.
We're back at the same location, and now we have the world object set to the highest possible. There is definitely a difference in the number of objects loaded. You can see that here, and the FPS is pretty much the same, about 60 something. So I can probably leave the slider here, but what really brings it down is when we set the draw distance. I'm not sure, by the way, if it took the settings or not. Let's verify that. Yeah. So this is now the world objects at maximum settings, and now what we're going to do is we are going to change the slider, so we're getting about 67 FPS. All right, so I'm going to go now and change the rendering distance to the maximum. So this is now pretty much everything to maximum, and then we'll worry about that slider here. So I'll do it one by one with you guys so that you can see the difference. And are those wind sounds? Yes, they are. All right, so now we have the world distance. Now we're getting about 55 FPS. From 65 to 55, that's 10 frame loss. But it still looks pretty good. Still looks pretty smooth. You know, no issues there with performance, but I'm going to be very honest with you guys. This is not a very involved scenery. So if we want to check this out really properly, we need to go to somewhere where the scenery is a little more involved. So by the way, if we go to nighttime here, just so you guys can see, this is what it looks like during nighttime with almost maximum settings. The only thing is now the aliasing is not set to maximum. And if we go to the cockpit, we're getting about 60 frames. The experience is pretty smooth. So performance is not really that bad. The jagged lines are. That's one of the ugly things in X-Plane is the jagged lines. So performance isn't really that bad, but in my view, it should be much, much more. Because I know my system is a monster of a system. So I would assume that this should be probably with maximum settings at any location, no lower than 70 to 80 FPS. So yeah. So, but it's not bad, as you can see, and this aircraft again is not very involved. So let's try something. Let's push things a little bit. So I'm going to leave the same aircraft for now, and we're going to go. Actually, before we do that, cancel, discard. All right. So let me just show you one more thing. We're going to take this to 8 MSAA and click OK. And now you can see the frames dropped another 10 FPS to 45 frames. Okay. Still okay. It's starting to struggle a little bit, I feel, but again, this is absolutely maximum. Is the jagged lines gone? No, they're not. There's still jagged lines here, jagged lines there, and shimmering over here. It looks terrible, even with everything set to absolutely maximum settings. Okay. All right, so if we go back here and, well, why do I keep doing that? All right, so if we go up here now and take a look, you can see that actually the graphics are quite nice. They're not bad. Yeah, I mean, it's not photoreal, but in my view, it still looks good. And this is the world object. This is everything set to maximum setting. And to even, for the record, let's just bring this again to off. So full screen resolution. And now we have everything running at exactly the maximum settings, and now we're down to 30 FPS. 30 FPS with everything at maximum settings. So I don't think we need to go to anywhere else. You see now exactly what brings performance down and what saves you, but the jagged lines hasn't gone away. They are still there, maybe with the resolution set to off. Maybe I think it might look slightly better without the FSR. And this is now the aircraft. I don't know, what do you guys think? Did it reduce the jagged lines? I think it did, without a doubt. So this is X-Plane 12 now running at absolutely maximum settings, and we're getting about 33 FPS in the outside and about 35 FPS in the Cessna 172 cockpit. And I tell you, if we go for some other aircraft that is more involved, then the performance will suffer. So in my opinion, the performance is one of the big things Laminar has to work on. The clouds is another. So in priority, it would be my priority list would be performance 1, or actually, let me switch that. I'll take clouds 1, performance 2, and then everything else. That would be my priority list as far as the changing needs to incorporate TSSA or above. Yeah. Game settings result with i9 and 3080 Ti. You're most welcome, sir. So again, in terms of performance, I'm not impressed, and I hope that this changes in the near future. But I think you guys can get a very reasonable sort of feel for the type of performance you can expect. Guys, look at those textures here. So now, if we go back to the settings here, and we take back the rendering distance to high, and we say, I hope we don't get that Vulkan error, but we set that to high, and you will see how much performance we gained. We are now back in the 36, 35, so not much there. But if we change the world objects, okay, set that back. And those are the settings that I basically use. So when I reduce that, then I get, about 40, what is it? See here, about 36 FPS here. So the big two things that are affecting performance in this specific case is the MSAA and the rendering resolution. So if I take this back here, take this back here, and I say okay, then we're back to the 60, 70 range. Look at how, the difference is just huge with those two sliders. And we're back in the 70s now. So, and I'm happy with this. I mean, this doesn't look bad. Here, again, we can take a look. Again, the number of buildings that are loaded is still pretty reasonable. Still kind of fills up the world for you. So, yeah, it's not bad in my view. But definitely, clouds performance, those are top priority items on the list that needs to be fixed. All right, so let's see how well we've done in the FlyLILLO project. Right, there we go here. And I'm going to go to... Oh, am I logged in already? No. All right. So let's go here and check it out. And let's see. Sign in. All right. Excellent. Loading. And let's go to the dashboard. And the dashboard says that so far we have... All right, folks. So basically, we have so far collected 475 euros for the FlyLILLO project. And what I'm going to do is I promised the guys at FlyLILLO and Roberto that I have committed to providing them with the 1,000 euros. So what I'm going to do is I am going to donate the rest of the amount to them, basically. So they are going to get the exact 1,000 for for their cause, and I'll be donating the rest basically to them. So that is item number 1 today. In fact, let's see here if yeah, so that's one thing that I'm going to do here today. And the other thing is I'm going to tell you guys, since I am actually, we haven't obviously reached the target, but I really I'm so touched by everything that you guys have done for the channel, and I'm very touched for all the support that you've provided to the FlyLILLO project. And here's his so 25. All right, so yeah, so here's what I'm gonna do, guys. I am going to donate the rest to the FlyLILLO project, but I'm gonna actually give you guys something which is going to be a product by Thrustmaster.
For
And
it helps. Less than 3.
Let's see. Well, thank you very much for your 200 super chat. There, thank you very much, sir. Is that you, Niels? I can't see in chat. All right. 200 Knorro, yeah. Is that you? Niels, it is you indeed. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So here's what I'm going to do, folks. If you can just give me 1 second here. We are going to... looks like I'm having some trouble with my
Not much, but just a broke student here, smiley face.
Well, guys, thank you very much. You guys are awesome. You guys are just awesome. Not much, but just a broke student here. Thank you very much, Duncan. I truly appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate it a lot. All right, so guys, we are going to do the... All right, so what I'm going to give you guys is the Thrustmaster rudder pedals. I will be doing a giveaway of that. Leaf, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. So I am going to give you guys something as well, just in appreciation of all the support that you've provided to the channel and to FlyLILLO. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, we can call it a day today. And my final thoughts on X-Plane 12 is that while it is still not finished and suffers from some drawbacks in terms of the representation of clouds and performance, to an extent, I still feel that it is one of the world's best flight simulators out there. I highly recommend X-Plane 12 if you are serious about flying, if you are serious about flight model, if you want to really immerse yourself in the experience of flying an aircraft like a pro. I definitely recommend X-Plane 12. Again, I'm not comparing this sim to anything else. I am just really telling you guys what I feel is what X-Plane is today, and it is just absolutely awesome. So that is it. That's the conclusion of our review today of X-Plane 12, the official release of X-Plane 12. A lot more coming for X-Plane 12, by the way. I'm going to be showing you all the tweaks, all the mods, whether they're good or not. Those will be definitely... it will definitely coming on the channel very soon, and I'm going to give you again my honest opinion on all the add-ons, the aircraft, payware aircraft, and other add-ons that come for the sim as they are launched. I'm very excited overall about X-Plane, the future of X-Plane, the future of flight simulation in general. And I've had an absolute blast being with you today, this Monday evening. It's been a lot of fun. I realize a lot of you guys, this is the first day of the week. So I do want to thank you so much for being here. Just on the giveaway, I'm going to be giving you guys the, let me tell you exactly which one we are going to do. So we are... The rudder that I am going, the rudder pedals that I'm going to be giving away here on the channel during our next stream would be, let me just get the name of it so you guys know exactly what we're, all right. So it is the TPR Thrustmaster Pendular Rudder. And this rudder is a rudder that I personally own, and I will tell you that it is a fantastic rudder for flight simulation. Works perfectly well with X-Plane, works perfectly okay with Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's got a very nice feel to it, very sturdy. It's all a metal construction, so really a very good one to have and to own. So so that is going to be my tribute to all the channel members, followers, and friends in our next stream, which is going to be on Wednesday. So I'm skipping tomorrow, and we're going to be doing it on Wednesday. X-Plane 12. Hey, Alex, thank you very much for your 23.99 euros. I appreciate it very much, my friend. That is very kind of you and very generous. Thank you. We're by the way going to be taking a look at Newark Liberty Airport, which has been recently released by Jaworski Designs for Microsoft Flight Simulator. A copy of the airport has been given to me courtesy of the channel official partners in it builds. So stay tuned for that, and we will be doing the giveaway during that stream of the TPR Thrustmaster Pendular Rudder, which you can, I hope that it will enhance your flying experience. So stay tuned for that. And I won't make it on Wednesday, sadly. Thank you for the stream, Q8. It was great, as per usual. Thank you, Duncan, very much for being here. Thank you, guys, very much for your donations, for your support, for your kind words. I hope that you've enjoyed the stream. I hope that it gave you a proper insight into X-Plane 12. I hope I was able to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Till next time, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in, and bye-bye for now.